Some nights arrive like they already know my weaknesses. Soft at first, gentle enough to fool me, then slowly tightening around the places I pretend have healed. Tonight the darkness doesn't feel empty. It feels crowded with pieces of you I never learned how to put away. I run my thumb along the edge of my own quiet, feeling it tremble like a voice that wants to speak but can't survive the truth it might reveal. Your name floats up again, not as a memory, not as regret, but as a small persistent ache in the center of my chest. A reminder that some wounds don't bleed anymore, but still refuse to close. The softest interruption of my life, something that arrived without warning, stayed without promise, and left without sound. And somehow the silence was louder than everything you never said. If you walked into this room now, if the air shifted the way it used to, and your presence found its way to my side, I think the world would freeze for a moment, long enough for all the unsaid words to rise, hover, and fall away again. Because neither of us ever learned how to hold honesty without shaking. I might not speak, you might not stay, but the space between us would remember every trembling breath, every stolen glance, every quiet surrender that felt like a promise, even though we both knew it wasn't one. I wonder sometimes if you ever pause in the middle of a long night, feel an unfamiliar heaviness inside your ribs, and realize it's me, the version of you that you left behind when you walked away trying to save yourself. Because that's what it was, wasn't it? You weren't running from me, you were running from the part of yourself that I held too softly, too clearly, too honestly for you to face. So now we live in separate worlds, held together by a thread of memory, thin enough to ignore, but strong enough to never break. I sit here as the night folds inward, letting the stillness wrap around my thoughts like a blanket woven from every truth I never dared to speak. And in that quiet I finally hear it, the faint sound of acceptance forming, fragile and tired, yet somehow real. I don't miss what we were, I miss what we almost became. There is a difference, one I didn't understand until now, until the echo of you softened just enough for me to see it. You were the unfinished line of a poem I kept rewriting, hoping one day the ending would stop hurting. But endings don't hurt because they're endings, they hurt because we still imagine what could have lived beyond them. So I breathe slow and steady, letting your shadow move gently back into its core. Not gone, not forgotten, simply quiet. And from that quiet place a truth rises, one that neither of us was ever brave enough to say out loud. You didn't stay in my life, but you stayed in the part of my heart that learns from every softness it loses. Some nights feel like mirrors, not the kind that show your face, but the kind that reflect everything you tried not to feel. Tonight, I see myself again through the dim shimmer of unfinished memories, and there you are, not as a person, not as a dream, but as a quiet distortion in the place where my heart used to feel whole. I sit still, afraid that if I move too suddenly, the fragile illusion of forgetting you will crack open and spill across the floor like broken glass. But it cracks anyway, it always does. You were the echo I couldn't silence, the pause I couldn't fill, the soft presence that made every room feel half complete. And when you left, you didn't take yourself, you took the version of me that believed love could stay. Just by wanting to, the night grows colder and I feel it crawling up my spine, reminding me of every quiet surrender I mistook for strength. I close my eyes and your shadow appears, faint, trembling, fading at the edges, like a photograph left in the sun too long. You were never permanent, but you felt like it. You were never mine, but you lived in me, as if you had nowhere else to go. If you walked in now, if the world bent for just one moment and allowed you to step back into my life, I don't think I'd breathe. I think breathing would feel too much like breaking again. I would look at you quietly, like someone recognizing a wound that has finally learned to stop bleeding but still aches when the weather changes. And maybe you'd look at me with that familiar confusion, that fear that someone might see the softness you tried so hard to hide. We were two people standing on opposite sides of the same silence, waiting for the other to take a step neither of us knew how to take. I wonder sometimes if you ever replay the moments you refuse to stay in, if you ever feel the ghost of my hands in the empty spaces you carry around your chest, if you ever lie awake and hear the faint echo of a story we never you don't. Maybe you're better at burying the past than I ever was. But even buried things shift in the dark. Even buried things breathe. Tonight I let your memory lie beside me again. Not because I want it, not because I miss you, but because some parts of love don't leave on command. They linger like smoke in a closed room, like a whisper in a long hallway, like a heartbeat in the wrong body. I exhale slowly, feeling the weight of your absence settle deeper, becoming something I no longer fight. A ghost I've made peace with, a haunting I've grown used to. And there, in the quiet between one breath and the next, I finally say the truth I've never dared to hear out loud. You weren't the person I needed. You were the silence that taught me what needing someone really meant. Some nights feel borrowed, as if they don't belong to me, as if they were meant for a version of myself who stopped existing the moment you walked away. Tonight is one of those nights. The air feels unfamiliar, the shadows too honest, the silence too full of everything I have tried not to remember. Your absence sits across from me like an old companion, patient, unmoving, waiting for the moment. I admit I never learned to live without the echo of your presence. I rest my hand on my chest, not to feel my heartbeat, but to check if it's still mine. Because some days it feels like you left with it, quietly without warning, like someone slipping out of a room before the lights go out. You were never loud, that was the danger. Soft things break us more deeply than anything that storms in. And you were a whisper I mistook for safety, a gentle shadow I mistook for home. If you came back now, if the universe opened a small door and let you step through, I don't think I'd run to you, I don't think I'd speak. I think I'd just look the way a person looks at a wound that healed with the scar still aching. I'd wanna ask you if you ever felt the world shake a little when you remembered me, if your soul ever shifted in the middle of a quiet moment, because a memory of us passed through you like a cold breeze in a locked room. But I wouldn't ask. I've learned that some questions are just knives waiting for a place to land. So I sit instead, letting the night fold around me like a heavy veil, feeling its weight pull at everything I've tried to bury. It's strange how the heart remembers what the Maybe love is not something that leaves. Maybe it just changes rooms, waiting for the silence to feel safe again. And maybe that's why when the world falls quiet, when the darkness settles just right, I still feel you, not as hope, not as longing, but as the soft reminder of a story we lived halfway and abandoned before the ending found us. I don't hate you for leaving, I don't blame you for staying gone. Some souls meet only to illuminate the places we've kept in the dark. And once the light touches them, they can't go back to being forgotten. I look at the night as if it holds the truth I've been avoiding. And maybe it does. Maybe the truth is simple, you not staying hurtless, than the idea of you staying without wanting to. So I breathe in deep and steady, letting the ghost of you settle gently where it always has, not in my life, but in the quiet just beneath my ribs. And in that stillness, in that fragile peace I've spent so long resisting, I whisper the only ending that ever made sense. You were never mine, you were just a part of the night that taught me where my loneliness keeps its light. Some nights feel like a door I'm too afraid to open and too tired to keep closed. Tonight is one of them, a place between breathing and breaking, a thin line where your memory waits like a quiet figure in the dark, leaning against the wall of my thoughts as if it never left. I move slowly, not because I'm fragile, but because the silence is one wrong breath and the whole night might collapse into the truth I've been avoiding. Your name rises again, not in sound, but in sensation, a soft shift under my ribs, a warmth I didn't invite, a wound that never asks for attention, but always gets it. It's strange how a person can disappear and still take the air with them, how absence can press its hand so gently against your chest that you mistake it for affection. I close my eyes and there it is, your shadow, your quietness, the something in your gaze that always felt like a goodbye you hadn't said yet. You were a lesson I learned too slowly and lost too quickly, a language I understood only in silence, a softness that broke like glass the moment I reached for it. If you walked in now, if the night released you for just a heartbeat, I wonder Would you still tremble the way you did when emotion got too close? Would your voice shiver under the weight of everything unspoken between us? Would your soul step forward, or would your fear step back first? Maybe we wouldn't speak, maybe silence would carry the conversation the way it always did, pulling our truths together without ever letting them meet. I'd wanna ask you why you came, why you left, why your ghost stayed long after your footsteps faded. But the words would dissolve before reaching my lips, because deep down I've always known some questions aren't meant to be answered. They're meant to be carried. And I've carried you quietly like a secret I wasn't ready to abandon or admit. Time moves strangely now, stretching, slowing, bending itself around the parts of me you once touched. Sometimes it feels like I'm walking through a version of my life where you still exist just out of sight, like a song playing in another room, never loud enough to understand, never soft enough to forget. Maybe one day you'll feel it too, that sudden heaviness in the center of your chest, that echo of something almost familiar, almost forgotten. And maybe you'll realize it isn't sadness, isn't longing, isn't regret, it's just me, the memory of a heart you touched without meaning, to the ghost of a moment you left half alive. Until that day I sit here with the dim glow breathing on my skin, letting the night tell the truth for me. And in that truth, in that tender, painful stillness, I whisper what I've never dared say, not to you, not even to myself. You weren't the dream I lost, you were the part of me I didn't know was breakable until it broke in your hands. Some nights don't feel like nights at all. They feel like hallways, long, dim, endless hallways, where every step echoes with a memory I didn't choose to keep. Tonight, your echo returns again, not loudly, not suddenly, just enough to remind me that forgetting is not the same thing as healing. I breathe in, careful and slow, as if the darkness might collapse if I disturb it too quickly. And in that breath I feel it, the soft, familiar ache that wakes only when the world grows too quiet to lie to me. There you are, not in the room, not in the world, but in the space between heartbeats, the place where I've kept you long after time told me to let you go. You always belonged to the silent parts of me, the parts that broke without shattering, that cried without sound, that loved without language. I think about the way you looked at me once, as if you were seeing something you didn't believe you deserved. Your eyes trembled that night, not with fear, with recognition, as if you knew I had touched a place in you you weren't ready to admit existed. If you appeared now, if the night opened its arms and placed you beside me, I wouldn't ask why, I wouldn't ask how, I wouldn't ask the thousands of questions I once thought would save me. No, I just watch your face the way someone watches a forgotten photograph come back to life. Because the truth is, I don't want answers anymore. I just want a moment, a single quiet moment where your presence doesn't feel like a dream. I keep waking up from the world outside, keeps moving, keeps breathing, keeps pretending. It doesn't feel the shift inside my chest every time your memory touches the edges of my thoughts. But I feel it, I always feel it. Some nights I try to imagine your life now, not with jealousy, not with regret, but with a strange tenderness, wondering if you ever pause for just a second, long enough for a shadow to cross your heart. The shadow of me, of us, of what we almost became, but never had the courage to finish. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. Maybe your soul remembers mine in ways your mind refuses to admit. But even if it doesn't, even if I've become nothing more than a soft distant ache, that's enough. Because some people are not meant to stay, they're meant to remind you where your deepest wounds are and where your truest love lives. The night deepens, pressing itself gently against my skin, and I realize something I should have known long ago. I wasn't trying to keep you, I was trying not to lose the version of myself that existed when you were near. So I whisper your name, quiet, trembling, almost ashamed, and the darkness catches it softly, as if it's been waiting to hold it again. And in that fragile moment, I finally understand. You were not the ending I feared. You were the echo that taught me how long a heart